As we're starting today with T1 and Cloud9, this is going to be a great matchup. For T1 themselves, they all moved into a house in California recently, and they have something to prove, right? They added Spyder to the roster, and they're slowly showing a lot of improvement. And Cloud9 is going to be one of those big tests to see if they're going to make it to the top 4. And they haven't.
Here's my thing, and we've talked about this before. I don't think there is a strong versus weak when it comes to looking at maps. You know, there's only 4 maps in the pool. If you are bad on one map, maybe you're just not a good team.
Hey, you ban it.
The reality is, like, there's not much to really have to work on. There's only 4 maps. But what separates the teams often at this level is just what do they bring to the table, how do they play, and what do they utilize. Skadoodle getting aggressive. We've kind of criticized Skadoodle in the past for being a somewhat dull player as the Jet, but it's not here. Skadoodle pops off and finds 3. He charges down mid. And we talked about Cloud9 potentially being the one to set the pace, but it looks like T1's done it instead.
They just want to hold the first grounds right at the entrance.
30 seconds left.
DaZeD and AZK trying to lock down mid. Now DaZeD has gone down. That puts AZK in the pressure position. I like this smoke from TenZ, who decides to push through. AZK can't quite line up the shot. It's Skadoodle who's there to try and save the day. Now Brax is still on site. And he does deliver a dart into the belly of one of the targets trying to ascend the site. Brax coming around the corner. Will he be able to stop the plant? Oh, Mitch canceled! That's actually huge! They don't get the spike plant, which means no spike plant cash. That's been taken care of, but there's still the swarm grenades that are down that they'll have to worry about. And they're popping those swarm grenades to try and slow them down on the take, but it doesn't seem to be making too much of a difference. Spyder pops off, but Vice is there as well. We find ourselves in a 2-on-2, but now it's just down to 1. It's Brax. And unfortunately, this round seems like it's lost as Shinobi peeks his head out. Cloud9 win the round. It was scrappy and hard fought, but everyone dies in the end anyway. He's not going armor classic. He does go down to the Sheriff.
Oh. Opponent spotted already. It's going to be another very quick round for Cloud9. TenZ is already inside the cyber cage, peeking out. It's going to be the shots from Brax, but doesn't ring true, and the A side is open for a plant. But Spyder on that previous round, continuing on this round. That's 2 kills of his own, 5 in total over 2. People wanted to see him on a Phoenix, on a Duelist, on anything, as he's a great fragger and has been a great player in Overwatch, but I think seeing him as an Omen, he's definitely blossomed to when he first started in T1 to where he is now a lot more comfortable with the team and definitely putting those frags in as the Omen.
3-on-3 retake. Dart about to come out from DaZeD as he's jumping up and getting ready to fire. There you go. They'll start working their way through. Skadoodle has that op and he's sending shots through the floor. They're running out of time. They desperately need to get in there, and they do. It's because of great openers, and there's DaZeD actually finding another one.
There's no time, though.
No, they don't have this. They're all gonna die.
Oh no! Could come up huge. And you also have the Sheriff playing a little bit longer here, as you see from AZK. He could try to pop a few players before he runs away. And especially now that he's forced out of position from the staircase, Brax goes for the first kill with the Frenzy. They're going with the Hunter's Fury to get rid of the ults, and they will be able to do so they could still turtle inside the A site. But still trades are happening. Spyder with a connection onto Shinobi. It's a 3 versus 2. 13 seconds left on the clock. They have to commit. The thing comes in for Skadoodle. 1 more to go. It's Spyder coming in from the B site. And there's that 50 round. There's that round I told you about. With pistols, they could still get it done.
And canceling that ult from Mitch made all the difference in the world. A little bit scrappy early on here. Both teams fighting for control of the scoreboard. T1 retains it for the time being. And Skadoodle's likely going to have a feeding frenzy here in B main. He finds 3. DaZeD picking off one of his own. And now it's up to just 1 player. It's Vice. And he's so far disconnected from the play. Shot gets connected on through the wall by Mitch. And good paint shells damage as well. So now Relyks is going to go ahead and dedicate towards the plant. They're trying to get back into the site if they can. TenZ actually goes down in a battle against Spyder, who has really stepped up his game here. But there's the flank play coming in from short. And now it's all up to the player up in heaven. And DaZeD ends up landing in the crosshair of Relyks. If he gets there in time, this flank could be punishing.
Yeah, but they're okay for retakes too, right? The camera is already going to give one position away. They can't close the door because it's been broken, and I'm assuming that could have been done intentionally from T1 as well, because the amount of times that Spyder has been rotating back from the catwalk, Cloud9 should be afraid of that position now. But as they're both moving towards heaven, and they have a huge sandwich from Brax, Brax could actually see the cannon there out in the open, gets that first backstab onto Mitch. They got rid of the door, and now it's just Vice that's stuck in the corner. So a great retake there for T1. They don't mind letting them get the plant. They go for the defuse. It's 6-4.
That allows shinobi to shut the door and plant the spike. A bit of a ballsy move, as it could have left the spike in a pretty rough position to try and get it back from. But we find ourselves at a 4-on-4 regardless. Now the dart flushes DaZeD back, blast pack in over top of the wall, and Mitch is going to pick off DaZeD as well, as he comes through from the backside of that play. They weren't anticipating that, pushing through from Garden. Now the window is still in place, and Mitch kind of gets stuck on the other side of the glass looking through. So it's a 3-on-3. As the fight continues to volley back and forth, there's one in hell, and you're asking yourself, Skadoodle, can you just take that shot, please? But it's going to fall onto Spyder. He's been a hero thus far, finds one, but can't get the second.
And even AZK, I think, was that third player rotating back, coming from Heaven's side, to actually pinch in and probably surprise both players at Hell. It would have been a different scenario, but Spyder is going to have different plans for himself here for the team. So does Brax. They're looking to even up the tally on this first half, 6-6. Mitch is already spotted at the sliding door. He's going to have to try to clutch a 4 versus 1. Spots the first, the double peek. That's perfect play. And AZK actually makes it 7-5. For T1.
That came through too, but it was a good move from Skadoodle to tailwind out. But that's another piece of his toolkit that he doesn't have at his disposal. So when they go for that take, not going to be able to dash in and take the fights early. Now Brax has picked one off with the frenzy, but it's an immediate trade back from Relyks, who is very low on HP after that.
Yeah, but that kill shouldn't happen.
Yeah, he's sitting at around 10 health.
Brax was able to lurk into the B side, just things that Brax does, and Swag gets the kill and a backstab on Market. That opens up the B side, allows now T1 to get in there as well, but there's only 20 seconds. At least the spike is already at that position. A face-to-face battle. It's going to be Spyder that takes the upper hand. Mitch is stuck on a 4 versus 1, and some very healthy players for T1. At the same time, setting up a perfect crossfire in. What I like, at least from T1, is despite them losing that control towards mid side, they know that there was a boom bot that was actually thrown towards market side. The owl drone came towards mid, and a paranoia came from catwalk. So they knew the position of 3 of the players of Cloud9, really putting a lot of emphasis on holding mid and keeping that mid in their favor, which means they know that it's going to be a weakened A site with 1 player, a weakened B site with 1 player.
We're down to the 35-second mark, and they still haven't made their way onto a site. They're finally starting to take control of mid, and now Mitch is in a position where he's got Skadoodle and one more around the corner, and Mitch has really slowed this down to make it that much more difficult. They're trying to get onto the site, but with 23 seconds left, they can't get into good positions. This is exactly what we said we'd be worried about, but hold on! T1 is fighting their way out of it, almost! Some heroic work coming in from DaZeD.
Or you can really see that type of playstyle for T1 and with the agents and the players that they have composing that lineup. But with this one, though, it's going to be another situation where they have ecos or a forced buy, and it's paying off in their favor. A ghost and a bulldog kill, a frenzy in the hands. TenZ trying to move forward. Whips in a couple of shots, finally connects, but runs out of bullets so that Spyder could actually trade it off. So they actually managed to get into the site. It's a 3 versus 2. They have a lockdown from Mitch, though, to try to push him out. But that's a huge ultimate from the shadows. Vice never sees it coming. Spyder for a 3K, looking for the 4. But Mitch stays alive for a bit. 89 HP, still very doable, especially with the lockdown that was thrown first. No spike has been planted, so he could still get the angle in. They could still run back to the B side if they want to for T1, but you have AZK at 2 HP, no more abilities with the exception of the fault line. Sentinel that could also play a Cypher knows about that wallbang position. If he was there and he was hearing that plant, wallbang, the round's over. That said, though, it's a different scenario. It's a 2 versus 1. He makes it a 1 versus 1. 11 HP versus 2 HP. He gets the headshot onto AZK as well. Clutch just a 2 versus 1, and C9 makes it 9-7.
Position in B main, Brax is incredibly important. It's going to come down to his timing. Now that shock dart is huge, does great damage, but now Brax has to come in and save the day. If they get through into the U-Haul, they'll be able to survive a little while longer, or the boathouse. Now the spike is planted on the other side of the box, and they say that pros don't fake. Vice is going for it. He's got it close, but not today. Brax moves up too close. Vice has to pull off. Can't get the gun out in time. Skadoodle. Early round pickoff on shinobi. There's the ult coming out. The Hunter's Fury is sending damage downrange from Vice, but it's actually TenZ who does the dirty work as the Blade Storm finds 2. This aggressive play from Cloud9, putting T1 quite literally up against a wall. Skadoodle somehow fights his way out of it. He's still got time to go back to the rifle, has to switch to the pistol.
Ooh.
I think Vice might have 2 HP. No, it's 1. Vice somehow barely survives. It's okay, T1 wins the round, but Skadoodle still almost had that, despite being put in an almost ridiculous scenario. It's scrappy. You can see some players on pistols, some on rifles. It's not exactly ideal. So they're going to be working in towards the B site, off the Rolling Thunder. The Rolling Thunder actually misses. That Nano Swarm, oh my gosh. Brax takes so much damage. The Alarm Bot plus the Nano Swarm puts him down on 38. Now Mitch is only able to get the kill on the very soft target before being taken down, did significant damage to Skadoodle. But the spike's been planted. It's a 4-on-4.
Get out of my way!
We'll see what C9's able to do to try to get back into the site. A fault line coming out, Hunter's Fury as well being popped. Everything they've got is sent in that direction. Ooh. There's the pulses coming out from DaZeD, and it's looking all but manageable here as T1 closes things out. We said that Cloud9 had a chance, but Spyder pops off and prevents that from being a reality. Absolutely fantastic first game for T1.
Oh, yeah.
Cloud9, player advantage in the pistol. But it almost doesn't mean much sometimes. These rounds are just so scrappy. Now, the dart will give away the position of 1, and the shots through the wall from DaZeD do connect.
That's huge.
And now it's this bizarre fight. We talked about it, not always the best. The shock dart's right on the money.
That's huge.
Shock dart as well. Spyder's got the flank, and it all comes together. What a peculiar round.
That's
the way they had to fight into that tight territory.
It's not that they're bad at this map. It's just that they're not used to certain playstyles, and so far it's been T1 that's been surprising them.
Cloud9 turtled up currently inside U-Haul. Here's the portal play coming out from T1 as they dash their way through and head over to B. And it's a brawl inside the portal as the shotgun only finds 1 kill for Relyks. TenZ now coming through with the Sheriff. He's got backup from Mitch. It's working. It's a scrappy game thus far, and Cloud9 steals that round. But that dart's going to spot out the position of the Omen, and that allows them to get into the site.
Oh my
Potentially
God.
Skadoodle just cleans TenZ's clock and gets onto the site, and in the meantime, they also used Into the Shadows to put Omen up on balcony as well. You know, he does drop down, but T1's got site control. 14 seconds left as the spike goes down. The knives from Skadoodle right on the money. He'll fly in with 1 more. Does he realize there's 1 still inside vents? Nope, AZK's got it.
That works.
Solid push, but it starts with that big kill coming out from Skadoodle. Again, direction coming in from Cloud9. Pushing up on short. Now, it doesn't work out early, as you can see they're pretty much prepared for it, holding back. The nade comes in, but as he tries to backpedal, DaZeD peeks and punishes. I love this position from Brax as well. This is just really well read from T1, understanding what Cloud9 is going to do in this scenario. Double curveball out. The second one produces more success than the first. At distance, Mitch is able to capitalize on the Stinger's fire rate.
I have the spike.
Getting the best of Brax. AZK going back to pick up the spike. Spamming through the wall, has to be careful, but it's Skadoodle with the backup. But there's TenZ from the other side. They lost sight of short. So now TenZ is able to punish and potentially upgrade as well. Both teams have been incredibly scrappy with the pistols and the force buys. And even though Cloud9 is at a player disadvantage, they've got 2 players you would want in this scenario, and that's one of them. TenZ pops off and finds 1 more, but it's all up to Vice, and oh man, the timing. Turns his back as soon as Skadoodle peeks his head out. And now Skadoodle's got position with the op. Now Vice does go the other direction. And that's awkward. Just peek and fire, peek and fire. Yeah, there you go. That actually works.
I was going to say...
How does this happen? The inside hookah, deep smoke coming out from Omen. But it looks like it's going to be a B push. Now that nade pushes him straight into the fight. But there's TenZ right around the corner with the shotgun. Now this is something we've seen Cloud9 do. They love to play off this portal in mid. That collapse play. And it works out nicely for them as well. But Mitch pops the ult, runs into mid, gets spotted in the end. That allows TenZ to upgrade. But T1 managing to regain and retain control of this B site, largely in part to how well Skadoodle is playing. That ult, so successful as the knives slice apart the defense. And now it's Shinobi, stuck in hookah, waiting for Vice to come through from spawn. got a player sitting in garden and 2 towards elbow. shinobi's going to be spotted as he goes for the jump up. This recon dart's going to give them away as well, potentially. But shinobi sneaks inside dark cover to hide himself from it, and it's not going to make a difference. And again, Vice is stuck in that position with an operator, has no choice but to run.
There's that word there, actually.
Skadoodle the first one in, but Relyks and shinobi stomping out the initial push. azk has tried to bring it back as he finds himself on the high ground thanks to his ult. Mitch is playing around a smoke in that position. Might be able to get the timing right onto azk. Now, I like this move. Spyder was actually in U-Haul and ults out of it and onto the site. It's not exactly like a closed off position. He just ulted into the middle of nowhere. But it works out. Brax now has to go big. The smoke's down and they tap the spike. Fake flash out from the pistol. Doesn't matter though, T1 is there as Brax and DaZeD combine their efforts and put round number 6 on the board for T1.
In its glory of what we expect them to be on paper. They're really taking control of the series versus Cloud9 so far, where economy continues to stay low for Cloud9, so they don't have a chance really to fight back on this defensive side. And now a big Hunter's Fury from DaZeD. He connects onto one, he connects onto possibly another. No, he was really close there on that short side. But it's still going to be Vice. Close corner, gets the dink, but unfortunately the weaker gun. The dink comes through, no kill. And azk and DaZeD get the last 2, so they're moving up. A 7-3 scoreline with 2 more rounds to go. Mostly because they've been pressured a lot by Cloud9 Blue on the extremities and on mid side.
Early fights favoring T1 as shower control was the name of the game, but T1 delivers with some Drano to try and eliminate the blockage. Oh. Now that's a nade.
You hate it.
The arc on that nade is awkward, but Relyks goes for a lot of utility expenditure, and he's somehow still fighting and finding kills. He's got Spike down, but he's in a really awkward position. So you heard the port come through from Cloud9 as they've got this Spike locked down. It's just down to 2 players, and Cloud9 is throwing literally everything they have at that Spike.
That's right. And now, because of that, they know 2 players playing towards showers. They can maybe focus on a 2 versus 1 later on the other side, but it's actually being played super far back with Vice moving forward. But azk, a nice first kill. They're trying to go for a peek off a curveball. They're actually taking advantage of it. DaZeD gets the second one, and just like that, it's a 2 versus 1. Can Vice actually clutch it one more time?
30 seconds
The spike
left.
is down. He's covering it. There's 30 seconds, so much time on the clock. And the Owl Drone's going to be huge. He had to swing out on that and try to surprise one of the 2. And
He's going to be in a position that they might not expect him to be in. You can see Brax is actually holding, watching for the push to come through from the other side, but might not anticipate, Relyks to be coming in from the other end of this play. Now, does he clear this corner? That's the question. Yes, he does.
low HP still, though. Yeah, that's it. It's hard for him to move out.
Pretty low on HP, so he has to waste hot hands. And a pistol round that's actually incredibly important now. He can tag into his blaze wall as well to get some additional healing, but there's Brax to greet him with the classic burst. Skadoodle and Spyder elsewhere on the map with headshots from their classics. And Cloud9, what have they got out of this? They got B site control. So there will be a spike plant. There is at least that. shinobi will go ahead and secure that after taking the dart out. TenZ has gotten into position here and just barely escapes around the corner. But this is not a position he can really get more than one kill from. You can see he's in this position, but he's got some backup. They might have a chance now. How is this coming together? Cloud9 finds themselves in a one-on-one as TenZ has the classic. The heal comes in as well. The burst coming out, but no, Spyder shuts it down. That should not have happened, but it almost did. Cloud9 needed a big pistol round win, and it looked like it wasn't going to come together. But then in the end, you had this ridiculous 2v5 just cluster in hookah.
An explosive take for Cloud9 inside hookah, pushing back T1, and T1's just going to wait for his teammates to rotate. Big showstopper to come through. Can they get the opening? It's going to be the paint shell still that gets the frag, but they're looking for the other chase. They're looking for the frag. It's still Skadoodle. He drops the spike. It's traded out. It's a 4 versus 3. They're jumping outside of hookah too, and C9 stays alive on this offensive. TenZ with a second kill, leaving only 1 to go. It's going to be DaZeD with the Sheriff. Looking back here as I correct myself, not a Sentinel as an initiator. Looking back with the wall bang onto Mitch. 3 versus 1 now. Paint shells onto the ground. Spike has been planted. He just wants to hurt the economy. And like I said, they had the firepower for Cloud9. They
do a little bit of scratch damage to Brax. He's waiting with a shotgun yet again.
Nowhere to run!
TenZ starts to move into position. AZK, the wide swing. Brax is there as well. DaZeD chiming in with the ult. This is not exactly how you want things to go if you're Cloud9. The buy is scraped together by T1. But they've still found themselves in an advantageous position. Now, Mitch gets the easy kill onto AZK. There's an ult coming out from the attacking side. Good luck getting away from that one. FaZe has that pretty much dialed in on Spyder. Mitch backside of sight, and they've managed to bring things back to a much more manageable, and honestly, likely scenario. They've got the Cypher, no HP coming through from showers. If Brax took his time, I was wondering if he was going to be patient with that one. There's a curveball coming out. It's all going to come down to this. It's a 1v1. It's Mitch as Phoenix, Brax as Cypher, and Mitch,
you're dead.
He's going to pop his ult. I like the move. Getting back into U-Haul as well because it gives him the escapability. But Brax is actually playing this incredibly patient. He has to go for that. That means Brax now has a window of opportunity to actually get out onto the site. He's going to tap the spike and try and get it to halfway. Does he have it? No. I thought for a second maybe Mitch would flub that one through the box, but he's moved back. I like this play. I like this idea. You've still got to lurk over on the B site with Reyna, so there's still possibility that this could fall apart because that Reyna is one of their best players. It's TenZ, who's now on the back end of this play. So what do they decide to do? They decide to run away again. They've taken the spike into the showers, and they're going to wait until TenZ can make something happen on the back end of this. Now, he might be able to catch one off guard. The neural theft does kind of eliminate that threat. It wouldn't have mattered either way. AZK takes that peek and dies. They instantly know where he's at. But they've got this defense now forced to keep their head on a swivel. They have to watch both directions, both spawn and showers. They know they're not coming from short. Skadoodle's got a great position here to potentially find one over top of this awning. The Lear comes out, though, and that's TenZ finding one more kill. They're going to try and stick the plant. Relyks with the rocket and a follow-up as well. Somehow, some way, Cloud9 made that one work. Again, it's another peculiar round, right, Vincently? Like, they're just kind of all over the place, but after a much closer first game, that first half kind of left us a little bit disappointed, but Cloud9 has fought their way back into it. Now, Mitch doesn't get as much success as one would hope out of that ult. The spike is moving in the other direction, but look at the aggression. T1 has read this because they've seen this before. They've seen these lurk plays from Mitch where he's the only one on the site. So they've actually pushed through from short, and they're going to get a backstab kill on device. That's Skadoodle who was holding it down. So Mitch is going to have to go through the portal and try and fight back, but that Spyder already coming through from hookah. Everything is falling apart, and it's all onto Relyks. This is just really well read by T1, and Cloud9 collapse as it's a flawless round victory for the boys in red.
Inside the site, a recon dart doesn't spawn anybody yet. A showstopper, they're trying to clear out the site too. It's gonna have to be the retake game for the defenders, but Skadoodle still stays alive inside the site. Spyder going to work. It's all up to two players. TenZ inside the site, Relyks as well. You can't think of two other better players for Cloud9 to try to keep the dream alive. But a shock dart that gives and blows the position away from DaZeD. A kill attempted, not in favor of TenZ. And DaZeD gets the last two kills, the wall bang, and T1 will move to first strike.